But anyway, the big story, Rob, the big game, and we talked about it. What quarterback had more pressure on them? And we debated it. I thought it was Aaron Rodgers to have an Aaron Rodgers type performance. You thought it was Lamar Jackson. Rodgers was great. He was Aaron Rodgers.
He did his
old
right.
Aaron Rodgers.
Made the throws he had to make. He was
great. He was great. He won. Lamar Jackson obviously lost. Now set records in losing. I mean, let me read to you his numbers. 31 for 59, 365 yards passing, 20 carries for 143 yards, 1 touchdown passing, 2 interceptions though, and then 1 lost fumbled. First player in NFL history with 300 passing yards and 100 rushing yards in a playoff game. But I don't think I have nothing. Like, I don't think this is a referendum on Lamar Jackson. I think he's a young kid. He's in his second year, not even his second full year as a starter, but his second year as a starter, been starting about a year and a half, and he lost the playoff game. Some of the turnovers, one of them wasn't his fault. The first pass that was intercepted went off the tight end Mark Andrews' hands, hit him in the hands. And it bobbed, went into the air off his hands, was picked off, and then they scored. The Titans score off of that, and then they score again and go up 14-0. I think Lamar, again, he wasn't great as those numbers suggest, but I don't think he was terrible by any means. But the only thing I'll say about this game as to him as a player is it shows you that if you get down, they were down 14-0, and 28-6. If you get down with his style of play, it's going to be incredibly tough on you. Because he's going to run the ball, and then you force him to pass if they're down. He's a good passer, but not elite yet, right? And even if you're running with success, you're still eating up the clock. And so the Titans had the formula. They ran the ball on them, and they couldn't come back.
Think about it. It's one of the biggest upsets in the history of the National Football League. I think only 6 teams that have won 14 games or more wound up losing, having in the divisional round. I mean, that says a lot.
Yep.
I do believe it's a referendum on Lamar Jackson and his style. And from this standpoint, Chris, this ain't no first time. This is the second time. Last year when he had a 6-1 record and they played the Chargers. They fell behind, couldn't come back. It changed everything. And he made it look good and the score close at the end because, they're in prevent. Right. You get to throw the ball around, Chris.
It wasn't quite as bad as last year.
But am I right? I mean,
they're not the numbers aren't what they look like.
Right. And this year, too, I saw people trying to, give him a pass. Well, he had 500 yards. You can't blame him. He had 3 big turnovers as well.
Will you admit, though, the first one is definitely not his fault.
But it's still 3 turnovers. All I'm saying is, yes, we've seen this before where it's off a receiver's hand and somebody else intercepts it. But if I'm looking, I'm not saying he can't play in the league, Chris. They can never win with him. That's not what I'm saying. A Super Bowl. I'm not saying that.
So if you're not saying that,
but I'm saying you have to look at it. It does come into question when he had the most dominating regular season we've seen. They won 12 straight. They went through everybody, the quote-unquote good teams on the road. They beat everybody, and then they come and they fall behind, and everything falls apart. We saw it last year. We saw it this year. And you know what? For everybody who keeps saying, well, he's young and he'll get back and they'll get to the Super Bowl, I'm just saying, that's what they said about Dan Marino in his second year when he put up unbelievable numbers, went to the Super Bowl, and didn't win. They just had a team that had 12 Pro Bowlers, a dominant quarterback, right? A home game, first round bye, everything that you wanted there to win that game, and they couldn't get it done because the quarterback couldn't come back once he fell into a hole. I'm afraid of that when it comes to the style of play, and maybe that he has to evolve a little bit.
Well, he does have to evolve.
Would you agree with that?
even throughout the regular season, Rob, even in their win
I'm not
streak,
saying he can't play, Chris.
No. As long as you're saying that, and if you said you're not even saying they can't win a Super Bowl, I don't know if they can playing this way.
But I'm saying you'd have to make some adjustments to him, and he'd have to be able to throw the ball with better accuracy as we move forward to be able to say, all right, we're down 21 points. I could get that back. I'm not good.
Well, look, if they had been in the situation that Kansas City was in, down 24, and look, it wasn't Mahomes' fault. It were fluke plays. The first touchdown for Kansas City for Houston was a blown coverage.
Right.
Then they get the block punt. Then Tyreek Hill drops the punt. Like, those are three things that are completely out of the offense's control. But the bottom line is if Lamar Jackson had been down 24-0, he probably can't do what Pat Mahomes did. Now, they caught some breaks too, but he probably can't do what Mahomes did, right?
No, and that's the scary
because they got to run.
That's the scary part. And some of the elite quarterbacks, Chris, they come back. They come back from deficits. You know what I mean?
Lamar is not yet an elite passer.
But you have to be able to throw your way back.
Right. Yeah, if you're going to come back, because one, it doesn't need up as much time.
Right.
And it gives you big chunks of yardage.
You need quick scores to get back into a game like that. And I don't know if he's there yet, but for people to act like or poo-poo it, no, that was a bad stinker in a big situation. And that's why I said I thought he had the most pressure, Chris, because it wasn't just about that game and where they were. It was about his style of play and all the naysayers who keep saying, you can't win a Super Bowl. Nobody's ever been able to win a Super Bowl doing that. And those people have come out of the woodwork, you know that, after a game like that.
Look, until he wins one playing this style, people are going to say that because we've never seen it. With any of the, quarterback, I mean, hardly any have played like this other than maybe Michael Vick. But he obviously didn't win a Super Bowl. And to your point, in the 11-game win streak that they had in the regular season, 6 of them Lamar threw for under 200 yards. So even in the regular season, Rob, when they were winning, they were not hitting their receivers for the most part. I mean, most of it was passes to the running backs and the tight ends. And so the thing, like last year, he improved dramatically as a passer, right? In the offseason.
No doubt.
This year, what his improvement needs to be on hitting his wide receivers, hitting the people outside the lines. And so if he can hit his guys on the outside, the receivers, that's the next step of development for him. And then you can, as the years goes on, he's not gonna run as much. And probably every year he'll run a little bit less.
But here are the numbers, and these are just the hard, cold numbers. 0-2 in the postseason, 3 touchdowns, 5 turnovers. That's what we've seen in the postseason. And you want to talk about having one of the most dominating seasons I've seen from a quarterback is what he had. He just wasn't able to make it happen in the postseason. And even at the look on his face, did you see him after, was it the first turnover? He's on the bench.
He was up.
He was already. Am I right?
And I got to be honest.
That was surprising.
At times I didn't like his body language. I get it. You hate losing. Even some of it was probably angry with himself.
Right.
But still, you can't show that. Like, you got to be a little cooler customer. Pat Mahomes,
I saw the exact
totally
opposite.
Different. Right. And
even down 24-0, there's plenty of time. Yep. You got to get into your game, and you can't get down on yourself even if you give up something early. Do you know what I mean? And
no doubt.
I looked at the video, and I didn't like. I'm with you. The body language and the look on his face was not good.
Here's something, though, Rob, and I'm still in Jackson's corner. I was not convinced they were going to roll through the playoffs or even get to the Super Bowl.
You thought they'd win game.
I believed in Kansas City.
You didn't think?
I picked them to win against Tennessee, but obviously Tennessee's got a formula that's tough to deal with. If they get you down because they got the big Derrick Henry, and Kansas City's going to have to deal with that too. But here's the thing. Peyton Manning, obviously all-time great, 0-3 in his first 3 years in the playoffs. 0-3, Rob. In his first 3 years, 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions in his first 3 playoff games.
Well, we're talking about 3 touchdowns and 5 turnovers in 2.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but I'm just saying, it's like, so my point is, that guys can struggle early in the playoffs. And that doesn't mean, like, obviously people may have said about Manning at one point, he can't win the big. He won it, but then they still criticize him because he only had one, and he walks away with two. So I definitely don't think it's a referendum on Jackson.
That also tells you how hard it is to win it. Even a prolific guy like him who had all the numbers and the MVP, right? I mean, he was prolific, and he only got one really as a quarterback. And remember, they beat the Bears in the pouring rain in Florida. And who was it? Rex Grossman. He beat Rex Grossman. That's his only Super Bowl.
Right. All right, we threw it out to you. Was this loss over the weekend a referendum on Lamar Jackson and his style of playing quarterback? Your turn to weigh in. Max from Georgia, you're up first with Chris and Rob.
Hey, fellas, I'm calling to eat my crow. I said the Ravens were going to be in the Super Bowl with the 49ers. That is not going to happen. I think it is a referendum on his record, I got to say, because the style is great for the season. It's even great for a playoff game maybe, but I don't think it can get you to the final game. I was concerned about the Chiefs because they got all that offense.
Right, you can fall behind.
If Lamar gets down, he just can't do it. And the Titans came out and smacked him in the mouth, and I just think they got a momentum going. You look at the old Eagles from 2018 and the Packers from 2010, it seems like they're a wild card team, maybe destined to get there. So,
the thing I'll say about Lamar, you're
Max,
right at this point.
Yeah, appreciate it.
The jump he made in improvement as a passer from last year to this year, if he can make that type of jump coming in next season, I think he'll be fine.
I just think that you got enough, not evidence, but enough what do you call it when you compile some numbers? You know what I mean? Like
it's not a small sample size,
right? Not anymore now.
It's only two games.
It's two playoff games, but.
This one was not nearly as bad as last year.
But
he was bad in last. I don't think he was bad. He just couldn't.
He couldn't get anything going. And once he was down, that's the scary part. All right, Brandon in Atlanta, you're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What you got?
Hey, how you doing? I love the show, by the way.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
I want to say we should change the name on Monday from Magic City Monday to Overreaction Monday because no, this is not a referendum on Lamar. I ask you guys this. Marquise Brown's a great young talent. Mark Andrews is a decent tight end. But who on his team, who took over that game for the Chiefs? It was Travis Kelce took over that game. What player on the Baltimore Ravens is even equivalent to Travis Kelce or Tyreek Hill
Brandon,
or Sammy Watkins?
But wait a minute. They destroyed everybody all year and won 12 games. Don't tell me now they don't got anybody. I'm not buying that. What were they doing? It was smoke and mirrors in the regular season? Or the same cats, the same 12 Pro Bowlers. What are you talking about? You can't tell me he doesn't have anybody, Brandon. I'm not buying it.
It's not the same caliber of teams in the regular season. All these teams they played didn't make the playoffs.
They beat good teams, They beat good teams in the regular season. They beat good teams. I feel you. Look, I don't think their receivers are as good as Kansas City.
No, but I'm just saying that they put up numbers and did stuff, Chris, during the regular season.
Right.
They beat the Patriots. They beat the Chiefs.
I think a lot of those Pro Bowlers were Pro Bowlers because of Lamar Jackson.
Well, they weren't.
And the record he led them to.
But they weren't Pro Bowlers. Thanks for the call, Brandon. Appreciate it. They weren't Pro Bowlers on Sunday.
No, they weren't. Let's go to Albert in Florida. Albert, you're on with Chris and Rob.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Great.
I think it was a team effort, man. The team let them down. Right. Everybody played bad. The coach, I love the coach. I'm a Ravens fan. I wrote the poem called Fear the Ravens, something to rave about. I was on the sideline one time when Ray had 19 tackles against the Niners. I love them. But we should have kicked that punt, not put the pressure on them, not going for fourth down. It's a long game. We're not playing the Chiefs. We got plenty of time to catch up. We went away from our game running and passing, and we should have just smash-mouthed it and got up incremental. We had plenty of time to do
it. You can't always go for it on fourth.
No,
I'll tell you that.
No, And the other thing that was shocking was they were 8 for 8 during the regular season.
4th and 1.
At 4th and 1, and then 2 times in this game, Lamar can't get there, and even Chris to move it just.
Yeah, when you have a QB sneak, you need to just dive. You can't. It's hard to run.
Go,
he tried to run. Yeah, tried to make something happen. Going for the big play.
Just go. Just do what you're supposed to do, which is go forward,
get the yard,
and get the forward progress, and you get the yard. That's all you need.
Let's go to Steve in Louisiana. You're on with the Odd Couple, Chris and Rob.
How y'all doing? Great show.
Thank you,
brother. Thank you.
I don't think it's any kind of thing on Lamar. I think he's a young man that's learning how to play professional football quarterback, and I think he as soon as he learns to not take it personal as a reflection on Lamar, he'll learn to trust his players more. He'll know whose hip to dive off of when he dives over to make that 1 yard, and he'll learn how to raise his team up instead of sulk because he did bad. It's not Louisville. He ain't the only thing there.
Right.
He's
That's a good call.
That.
That's a good call.
He's going to learn that.
I think that's a good call because his sulking didn't seem like he was upset with his teammates. It may have been upset with himself.
Right,
but
you can't get down like that. You're the leader. They're looking for you, Chris. If you're on the bench and you're wallowing in it,
you can't show
you got to be like, come on, man. All right,
you got to be galvanizing.
All right, they got a touchdown.
Troops.
What? Did we think we were going to shut them out? We didn't think they were going to shut them out. Did we think we weren't going to score?
Right.
Mark in Sacramento, you're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio.
It's Sean in Sacramento, uncles from another mother.
What's up, Mark?
What's up, man? Oh, Sean.
Sean. Sorry about that. What's up, buddy?
It's all good, Mark the Big Cousin. But what I was going to say is I don't know how any of this is going to put on Lamar Jackson's shoulders, man. He put up historic numbers offensively.
Yeah, but a lot of them we're not poo-pooing that, but don't act like he played as well as the
exactly,
numbers show.
and you can't figure out how they lost.
Right. Come on.
They lost because the defense. The defense put up no kind of fight against these guys.
They only put up 12
man.
points, Sean. They only put up 12 points. This was a historic offense during the regular season. I get it. The defense wasn't good. But you can't act like Lamar had this great game. Look at the numbers.
But he also had 3 turnovers, which pushed the defense in a bad spot. So you just can't look at it like that and act like the defense, you know what I mean, like didn't do its part.
And they had 5 drives that start out on the 21-yard line or closer. 5.
But how many drops did they have? Man,
they had a few
also
drops.
Converted way more first downs compared to the team that they lost.
I'm with you in that he wasn't horrible. He wasn't
but you
bad.
Can't take that.
But
you
to
can't
act like he was, you think he was great?
You thought
That's ridiculous.
You can't do that. That's where you get like crazy and you go, well, you can't. It's not his fault. No. Come on, man. Let's be honest and do a real conversation. He wasn't terrible, Chris, but he was part of the reason they lost.
No question.
All right.
Look, the first pass, as I said, it wasn't his fault, but it's still that happens to quarterbacks.
It happens to a lot of guys.
And then even the fumble, you can understand it, but you can't let that stuff happen.
What happened in the Super Bowl with Brady? Brady had a strip sack, right, and lost the football. Philly got it and won the Super Bowl. That happened.
Those things can't happen. Eric in Kalamazoo, you're on with Chris and Rob. You got about 30 seconds.
Hey, what's up, Chris and Rob?
What's up?
Hey, man, they was rusty. They had a bye. They was off. Ingram was hurt. The Cadillac running back like the Alabama running back on the other side of the table. They just knocked off the world champs. They swore they've been knocking off everybody. They got a serious running back that didn't have to do nothing. Cousins ain't scoring nothing in the second half. We just talking about Jackson. Cousins make $30 million and they just got blank, Rob. Just like when you be hating on LeBron and LeBron keeps shining, you can't try to rattle this cat after the second year because you can't beat this cat that knocked off the world champ, the cat that might win everything. I'm down here.
Eric, that was one of the greatest upsets of a team that won 14 games. Don't act like it was nothing. It doesn't happen. He dominated the regular year, and he was horrible, but wasn't good enough to win. How about that? I'll use that word. Wasn't good enough.
What's happening, y'all? It's Chris Broussard.
I'm Rob Parker.
And we are
The Odd Couple. Check us out as often as you can on YouTube.
And always remember, I'm Oscar, and he's Felix.
Oh, man. Are you serious?